know the bottom line,
Yeah, I agree.
and it's not coming.
It's
It's
not,
not clear. It's not clear.
it's getting clearer.
It's beginning to emerge. So.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll call this workshop to order, and we have a fairly limited agenda this evening. The first is a discussion on integrated systems. I believe that there was something that was not, you were not happy about or you want to change, and I'm not exactly sure what that is, but if you would like to talk about it.
Okay, so I went back and asked them, and Don's reviewed this as well. So this is the new professional services agreement, and they came back with, instead of the $250, we'll get whatever, it's the same as LMT now, and we'll get whatever we pay for it. So it's $4,200 for 50 hours, that's what they'll cover. And that's the same as the LMT contract. And there's actually no official contract with either of them, so we're not in contract. And there's no contract with integrated systems either. I spoke with Fairport, Pittsford, Town of Victor, Village of Victor, all have integrated systems and they love it. And like I said, there's a pretty significant cost savings. No contract, the time never expires. So if we use the 50 hours and we need more, we can buy it at that same rate, at $85 an hour. Right now, we're paying about $10.50 a month for 6 hours per month. This way, we get the 50 hours and it never expires, we use it or whatever, and then if we need more, we can buy more. And one other thing I checked on was that they have 2 or 3 locations where our stuff is backed up. So if one thing goes down, they've got a whole another system at a different location that where it's backed up at.
How long has Fairport, Pittsford, all of them been using them?
Pittsford has, I talked to Dorothea and she's had it for I think 2 years now. And I don't know how long Carol's had it, but Carol is obviously very techy, so she's really happy with it and they've had it for a while. Victor, the Village of Victor had it first, and the woman who was their IT person left and went to the town, and she brought it over to the town because she was so happy with it. So
How many hours do you think we need? 50?
we're gonna start at 50. It would cost us around $4,200. I believe that's what it says.
What do we use right now per month?
We are always going over the 6. So in terms of over the 1,000, we're getting overages as well. So there's no, you use over your, you can't get charged for overages because you get it at a lump sum, you get that 50, and then you use it however you need to. With LMT, you get 6, and if you go over, you have to pay a fee.
Didn't we just sign LMP?
No contract. What's the approximate
Yeah, we
savings?
did recently
per month.
resign, but I
We
think there's no
re-signed.
contract.
Re-signed.
Yeah.
No contract.
What's the approximate savings?
Well, just looking at that alone, it's around 6,000, because it's 12,000 for LMT before any overages and any additional fees that they do charge. And this is just $4,200 for the 50 hours. But like I said, if we need more, they're not gonna charge, they're still gonna charge us the $85 an hour that we pay with.
Okay.
I'm sold.
Well, would there be a point, let's say we consistently go over 50, okay? Because if we're using 6, let's say we used 5 in 10 months, we'd be at the limit right there. Okay?
Well,
And we know we might consistently be there. Can we opt to buy into the 100?
you can get more,
Say?
yes. Yep, anytime.
I don't
you
mean
can-
more at 85, I mean opt into
Yes,
in another round 100, which would cover for a longer period of time, but it would be less.
but it's still at the $85, so an hour, so it's
So
not.
you'd have to buy initially 50, or excuse me, 100, to lock into 75.
Yeah, but we'd wanna, we're not really sure, it's hard for us to tell right now how many we'll need, because LMT comes out to the office regardless, so that burns 4 hours right there. So they do a lot more stuff in-house, So they still said they'd be happy to come out if we need them to, like maybe every other month, because obviously we have things that happen. Mayor's computer just went down, so we had to have that redone. So, but they're burning 4 hours right there just by coming. And if there's nothing for them to do, they're not gonna come.
Like a trip charge.
Yeah.
So even if we spend another 3,000, it's still cheaper. And what I really like is that they work with municipalities, which is that's their wheelhouse.
They have much better understanding.
And it is different, it really is.
I'm sold. I'll make a motion to switch to Victor.
I was gonna put on-
Yeah.
Next
You
meeting,
don't have that, right?
Oh, okay.
That's all.
No,
it'll be on him.
you can, no.
We're
We're not voting today.
So, what's
Yeah.
the?
You know,
Well, I think with that change, I think it's probably a better deal.
And you said no contract, right?
No contract.
Okay.
Peter's ready. So Peter's ready.
But they said, they did say that if we're, say we're at 45 and we're getting short and we tell them, hey, we're gonna go on with you for another year, they'll float us till our next contract, so we don't even have to
Mhm.
buy 4 more hours if they know we're gonna re-up with them.
Okay.
And we'll get a better idea of how much time we actually need it once they're here and figuring things out.
So yearly, call it a contract, but we're not locked into it.
No contract at all.
That works.
Didn't Don have some concerns with this agreement?
His was the liability issue, and I talked to him about that, and he's gone over this and he's okay with it. But he'll talk about it next time too. But I sent this to him and he's reviewed both contracts, LMT and this one.
All right, so put it on the agenda, not
Okay.
vote tonight.
Thank you.
Good.
Mr. Elder's up.
Good work,
Homework, oh,
Heather.
that's good.
Good going.
You did your homework.
Yep, nice job.
Thank you.
Okay. So I wanted to come on behalf of the Parks Committee. I had asked to give you I wanted to give you an update because Missy and I were working together on some projects and I want to make sure you were involved and had some idea of what we were going through. So I'm going to pass these down. If you could take 3 sheets and keep going. And Jake, there's one there for you too. So she couldn't be, unfortunately Missy couldn't be here tonight because she had a sudden appointment that came up. She did say to pass along her regrets and hopefully she can be here another time. So before I just go, I just want to make sure that I just want to review a little bit about the comprehensive plan when it comes to parks. So there's really 3 objectives of the comprehensive plan right now. That's to improve existing facilities, eliminate hazards and obsolescence, provide information on current park opportunities, and investigate and create proposals to acquire lands for new parks. So we really are concentrating a lot on what we're given in that's kind of like our mission when we meet, is to talk about those items. So the first thing we want to talk about is the survey. I think I showed this to you before. We'd like to roll this out on around March 1st, when people are starting to get a little bit more enthused about using our parks. So this is a platform survey, so unlike the one we did 10 years ago, which is an awful long time, that was all done by paper, and it was hard. And I tried to do one in between, but it was difficult because it was, again, being done by handing it out door to door. This one is going to be kind of exclusively online. So what you're looking at is a Google form that's been put into a Word format. So what we'd have people do is go and actually click the choices, and then we could provide links from various websites that would be kind enough to let us have those links. That would allow people to get to the survey to be able to interact with it. And probably in 2010, that will garner as many responses or close to as we did in, say, 2020. It'll probably garner as many as we would have gotten in like 2010 when we did this before. So at least that's what we're hoping. Obviously, we know there's gonna be a skew in the demographic, but there probably was before as well. And we're not gonna disclude people filling it out by paper, which is why you have one. So if anybody wants to do that doesn't have access to a computer, we'll just make sure we somehow get them a paper copy. So we have all kinds of media ways of doing it. Now, Missy's been able to set up the form on a draft basis. We've already tested it, so it's pretty much ready to go. So we're hoping this is not a kind of survey where people are going to be able to give us a whole lot of complaints, but obviously if they have good comments about what we can do better, that'd be great. What we really want to know is what could we do to enhance the park system that we have, because the village has a great park system, because Jake and the guys do a great job keeping it up. So we're trying to make sure that we reflect that and we let people know about more what our parks are. Which leads us into the second item I want to let you know about, which is our Meet the Park scavenger hunt. So we've been talking, Missy and I, about what can we do to enhance people's knowledge about village parks. So we're thinking about in April, probably like mid-April timeframe, about having a scavenger hunt through our parks. And what it would be is people would go to each park and they'd have a clue, and then we give them a map, something similar to what you see here, although we're working on a better park map, but this is, the one you have is, the start of it. And then they would collect an item in the park, and then we'd have to have a volunteer at each park, but there's like only 5 or 6 of them we might have to really use there. And then they would stamp a passport that the person found the item, and then we might have this go over an entire week to allow people who can't do one particular day to have, option of having other days, or maybe we do a weekend. We haven't really figured that out yet. And then at that point, they would get a prize when they go to all the parks. So that way we'd have some exposure to each of them, because I know most of you have been to all of them, I think, probably, but if you'll know, the one thing that's kind of cool about the village parks is they're all different.
Yes.
One's got a bandstand, one's got a gazebo, one's got really, really good playground equipment, or 2 of them got really good playground equipment. So one has a baseball diamond. So we have a lot of different things for people to see. So we really want to highlight what's out there so people know more about what the parks are like. So that's just an idea where as soon as spring breaks, and starts coming on us, we can get rid of this massively cold weather. That'd be our offer to try to get people out to see more about what our parks are like. So then I also gave you a screenshot of our village website. I talked to Heather, and she seems to be good with this. So we would like to make some changes to the village's website and how it advertises the parks.
Did you say Facebook too, though?
We could do Facebook. Yeah, if we can put it into one digital form, we can put it into the other. So.
Okay.
So we'd like to enhance that by having more photos, because we only have 1 photo there. Maybe have a photo per park, which we do have those. It'd be even better if we could link to a page that would have more photos, but doesn't either way. It'd be great to be able to put our brochure up there so people can click on that and download it if they want. And then we, of course, make sure that our time of our meetings are correct, so people can come and join us, because we really love people to join us, because it's a good group activity, because this is something that, they're parks, and they might as well have input as to what they want to do with them. So we're also working on part of the other objective, which is to how can we enhance the parks. So, and I know Jake and I have had preliminary discussions, maybe we could have more tomorrow morning about this too, but about what are we going to do with, how can we make them so there's more there. So Missy's come up with a couple of ideas. One is a pickleball court. That would kind of be where the tennis court, one of the tennis courts is right now. And I know we've talked a lot about what we're going to do with these tennis courts, and maybe that's something we could look into. And then the other one would be maybe setting aside a portion of one of the parks for a dog park, which are very popular now. Now, neither of these things is cheap. So we either have to seek some grants, which we have a good grant writer we can ask for, or there's money in the Parks and Rec fund. And I know the board hasn't really talked much about it, but we would be willing to recommend some uses of that money to improve the parks. So I don't know if the board had ideas of what they want to do with that money, but it's there to help enhance and purchase new parkland. So it's one way of handling that. We do know that pickleball is I was looking this up, and I don't know pickleball, but it's a very popular, it's really getting to be a popular sport. And the cool part is it goes in where you had tennis courts fairly easily. And we have tennis courts at the Shantz Park that are in need of some upgrades, but this might be a way to not only upgrade them, but improve them and give them something that people would really want to do, to go there based on 2020 characteristics.
You did a dog park, would you have a fee like the county does?
There's a possibility of doing a fee, but the other possibility is doing what Pittsburgh did, which is they just made it free. So people could go and do it. She had a meeting with Bill Smith, the supervisor of Pittsburgh, and Bill's a good guy. Anyways, he went through the cost can be a lot for a dog park, so it's something we really want to look at. We have to make sure we're doing it correctly and we're doing it, and the real cost came to fencing, is the major part of that effort. It cost them, they have much more acreage to do than we would do, but it cost them $42,000 for their fencing. So clearly that's not in our range of thinking, but there might be something smaller that might be.
I was just curious, because the county charges $35 a year per dog.
So like a membership fee?
There's a membership fee for.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's 4 parts of the
It's a
county.
penny.
Yeah, probably just there.
And that might be a way, and that fee idea is not a bad one, so we could offset some of the costs that we would get.
Yeah.
But they're very, very popular. Oh, and by the way, Jake, I wanted to say you got a great compliment for putting up that doggy thing down at the trail the other day. I was talking to somebody, they were very happy with it, so good job there.
Want a couple grills there so people can go picnic and cook out.
There's still grills at the Chance Park, right? Yeah.
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 Another one.
So we do have that amenity there, so people can actually go and use grills at Chance Park. And finally, the last thing we were gonna mention was the bike rack on East Main Street. I know Jake's been looking at locations, but we've got 3 possible ones. We're gonna discuss with them and send along and try to get that bike rack up down there, somewhere near, if we could, near the bakery, if you have a spot. I don't know, maybe you've already planned a spot, but we were gonna give you some ideas if you didn't have any.
Are there 2 to go?
Okay,
Peter?
huh?
Are there 2 more to go?
There's one, I think, right, Jake?
On what?
One bike rack?
There's 2 more put up.
Well, there's 2 more to put up, one
Yeah.
on the east side, and where's the other one?
One's going down to the Veterans Park, one's going in there to the bakery. We
Okay.
had a spot, but I called the owner down there and have not heard back, so, but then it was November, so I figured not many people are riding a bike anyway,
No, you're right.
so.
So, where was your idea down there near the bakery? Was it right near the side there where you go in, or how were you thinking?
It was down in the village portion, the village owns that F with a scarf
Yep.
through there.
Mm-hmm.
At the lower, at the intersection of the lower perpendicular
Okay,
line, there's that crosswalk, there's a sidewalk that goes up there and right off the side of that,
oh, all right,
in that island.
okay. So you'd take it right into the existing concrete, or?
No, I would try to put it in the island, or in the mulch area.
Oh, okay,
Just bury a sono tube and put it in there,
okay,
and it's not interfering with the sidewalk,
got it.
but it's close
Okay.
by.
I think that's actually one of the spots we saw, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. All right, so anyway, so that's kind of where we are with everything, and we're constantly talking, we also have the tree marker program that Jake and I have to get with, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. So we have a lot of things going on, so I just want to tell you that we're not resting, we're keeping moving, we're keep moving along, and making sure that people know about all the amenities we have out there that they can take advantage of, because we have a lot of parkland, and they might as well take advantage of what we have, so,
You're doing a good job. Thank you, thank you.
thank you, I appreciate
Peter,
it.
what
And
about,
thank you.
Appreciate your support. If you
now
have any
see
comments,
struck
if you have any
park.
comments, please let me know, and we'll make sure we
Yeah.
change them and
Yeah.
alter them as we're moving forward, so. Sorry, struck park?
Struck.
That's
Okay.
historic preservation, and historic preservation, that's what Jake and I are gonna meet primarily about tomorrow, is that design. And we also were looking about the kiosk, and so so historic preservation does have a design that was approved at the public hearing, for that island, but we have to make sure it translates to Jake and make sure it's realistic enough for him to get in there and actually do that design, so that's our goal. But all things being equal, the plan would be to plant the flowers in the spring, I think there's a song about that, and then trees in the fall, which I think is the optimum time, I understand, to plant the trees. But basically, we'd like to plant the trees whenever the optimum time to plant them is. Those 2 together, does that sound?
Yeah, spring or fall. I was ready to plant them a couple of years ago, and then there was concerns about flowers or no flowers, or how many, what kind, and everything else.
I think we've got some,
And somebody told me what they wanted.
I think we've got compromises that will work, so,
Yeah.
finally. And some of them were your
Fine.
suggestions, so thank you for doing the investigation for us. So that's what's going on with that. And we also have a design for the kiosk, which we approved at our last Historic Preservation Commission meeting, that we're hoping we can get down there. But again, we have to talk about what's realistic, because we only know the design, we don't know what can actually get done reasonably. So that's what we're gonna talk about.
Down by the trail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any questions, anything?
It's just an observation on
Yeah.
here, that it was asked for, but
That's
the
okay.
surveys in March, one of the questions is when's the last time you used the park? And I think that might be a little skewed because of winter.
Okay,
If people usually use them monthly or weekly,
okay,
maybe, I don't know if that can be
yes, it
looked
can.
at, but, and then you talked about doing a meet the park scavenger hunt in April. And I agree that the parks are very different from each other, but one thing they all have in common is they were donated to the village because they were too wet to build in. And April might not be the best time to show them off
Exactly.
because
May.
it's pretty darn wet.
What do you think about May or
Yeah,
June?
maybe.
It all depends on the year. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if this is something that's gonna be scheduled out months in advance, or if it can be weeks in advance, and then you can get an idea.
So wet.
Sometimes we can't get in there until July and go to Wilmerite Park.
Probably a month in advance,
Yeah.
we could do.
Yeah,
How's
so
that?
we'd have a better idea.
Okay.
And how to, like I said, sometimes Wilmerite, we can't get in there until in June or July.
Okay.
The mower or certain areas that are so wet, so.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Darrell, you had something about the survey too? Same thing, or?
Yes, this is going to be where, I mean,
It would be
to
online?
actually maximize the number of people in the village that would respond, or that would see it.
Well, what we would do is provide, because it's a linkable, it's a very linkable kind of device here, because it's on a Google form. So it would be, you could put it anywhere. So if the village would put it on the website, or the bid would put it on their website, or anybody would link it from their website, people could go click on that link and go right to the survey. So the gist would be the wider dispersion you can have of the links, the more people could know about it. It could even be linked through a Facebook page, because you could just put the link into the posting, and then people could just use that link to get to it. So there's, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's
How
the,
many people use the Facebook page? Go to it, I don't know.
what's the likes on the village page? Is it like 500?
Yeah, 500, 600 now.
Yeah, but we get like 200 views on our videos,
Yeah,
so.
so say,
That's good.
so let's say 200, so say we keep it up there for a couple of months, and we just let it kind of go through that time, we might end up getting maybe 400 would be good, 400 or 500 responses would be great.
Well, we
But
could
you can
boost
also
it.
do the Webster, there's a lot of Webster pages, Webster neighbors.
There are.
That have thousands and thousands.
And this is not like anything that they're gonna have a problem with posting, so I think we'll be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so.
And again, last time we did, I think we had 300, just around 300 responses, 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years, whatever, around that time. So anything that goes over that will be ahead of, so.
We can boost it.
And we could boost it, right, exactly, which would take it out to the entire community. So, yeah.
It's good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you guys did
Thanks,
good.
Peter.
Yeah. Finally.
Your business, what you discuss, bring up,
It's a nice drink in there.
if not,
It says Pink Lady Apple.
Little vodka in there, and it's good.
No hits on the wood, Peter.
Hmm?
No hits on the wood.
Oh,
I've got to talk to you.
okay.
all right? And I'll make a motion, well, I'll entertain a motion, if somebody wants to make it, to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Next board meeting will be February 13th.
Will you be here? Rich Dad.
love the pickleball idea.
Yes,
Oh, I,
So
Dad,
it's 14.